You know, we would normally say, and I say it now anyway, but we want equalization. They should put up actually more money than us because they're right there. We have an ocean in between. Right now, we're not providing anything. You know, it's about Europe, too. Europe put in $100 billion, and we put in $350 billion. It's not a fair thing. But we've had very good talks with Russia. We've had very good talks with Ukraine, and we think it maybe will come to an end and we'll stop killing young people all over the battlefield and elsewhere.
Did Trump really just throw a peace party and forget to invite the guest of honor? Our president sent Marco Rubio to Saudi Arabia to negotiate peace for Ukraine without actually inviting Ukraine. It's like planning someone's surprise birthday party, but forgetting to invite the birthday boy. Stephen Colbert absolutely roasted this diplomatic faceplant on his show, calling it Trump's wet noodle diplomacy. When the orange guy blamed Ukraine for starting the war with Russia, Colbert compared it to blaming Wicked Hobbits for stealing the ring from Sauron. The audience couldn't stop laughing, and Trump couldn't stop fuming. So what happens when the world's most powerful narcissist tries to solve international problems? Complete chaos with a side of embarrassment.
Trump is also crippling other countries out there, starting with Ukraine. This week, he sent Marco Rubio to Saudi Arabia for Russia-Ukraine peace talks, but Ukraine wasn't invited. It's clear that Trump is pro-Russia. His administration is saying Ukraine will have to make major concessions. And when he was asked about what Putin will have to do in return, he got a little vague. That makes it kind of hard to find peace. Honey, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing couples therapy today. You should have been there.
Trump sent his buddy Marco Rubio to Saudi Arabia to negotiate peace for Ukraine, but forgot one tiny detail. He didn't invite Ukraine. This is like Trump planning level of stupid. Even for the orange man, this was a new low in his diplomatic blunders. Colbert didn't hold back when he ripped into this mess on his show. He called it wet noodle diplomacy and compared it to throwing a surprise party without inviting the guest of honor. The audience howled with laughter, but the joke has serious consequences for actual international relations. Trump's idea of solving world peace is apparently to exclude the country that's actually fighting the war. You know you've really screwed up when a late-night comedian has to explain basic diplomacy to a former president. Colbert said Trump's approach was about as effective as using a fork to eat soup. Spot on. The audience couldn't stop laughing when Colbert compared Trump's logic to blaming those wicked hobbits for stealing the ring from Sauron.
We will create the new Department of Government Efficiency, headed by a gentleman named Elon Musk.
But I couldn't find a gentleman named Elon Musk, so instead I hired this sociopathic tech doofus. The White House claims that Elon Musk is not in charge at Doge. What? It's literally named after his favorite meme. This is the most confusing leadership structure since Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Leave it to Colbert to use Lord of the Rings to expose how ridiculous Trump's foreign policy really is. Trump's explanation that Ukraine started the war just proves what we already knew. Either he has zero understanding of international politics, or he's still crushing hard on his dictator boyfriend, Putin. Colbert pointed out that Trump's understanding of the conflict is about as deep as a puddle in the Sahara. Experts everywhere agreed, saying Trump's comments show he has absolutely no clue about what's happening in Eastern Europe. The international community reacted exactly how you'd expect. Ukrainian officials responded with what Colbert described as a diplomatic version of, "Are you freaking kidding me?" European allies were confused and worried, while the UN's reaction was basically a professional facepalm. Everyone except Trump seems to understand that you can't negotiate peace without including the country that's being invaded. Trump's history of Putin praise is coming back to bite him in his diaper-padded behind. Colbert highlighted how Trump couldn't explain what Russia would give up in these so-called peace talks. That's because there was nothing for Russia to give up. This whole charade was just another attempt by Trump to please his authoritarian crush.
Maybe Russia will give up a lot, maybe they won't, and it's all dependent on what is going to happen.
Firm, clear, confident. Trump has, he's been criticized. for leaving Ukraine out of the peace talks. So yesterday, he said this.
Today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it.
Reminds me of that Gloria Gaynor song, maybe I will survive, maybe I won't. It's all dependent on what is going to happen.
While pretending to care about world peace. One of Colbert's best jabs was about Trump calling Zelensky a modestly successful comedian. The irony wasn't lost on the audience, considering Trump's own failed attempts at humor at those sad rallies, where he rambles about toilets and windmills. At least Zelensky was actually funny before becoming president, and he didn't need to pay people to laugh at his jokes. The whole situation gets even funnier when you remember that Zelensky is fighting for his country's survival, while Trump can't even fight his way out of a paper bag without crying about it on social media. Colbert made sure to point out this contrast. One man is leading his country through an invasion, the other can't even handle being made fun of on TV without having a full-blown Twitter tantrum. What's the real punchline here? Trump's peace plan was never about peace at all. It was just another sad attempt to please Putin while pretending to care about international diplomacy. The fact that he excluded Ukraine from talks about Ukraine proves he was never serious about actual solutions. It's like hiring a fox to figure out why chickens keep disappearing from the henhouse. Trump's angry reaction to Colbert's roasting shows exactly why comedians are so important right now. When politicians try to gaslight us with nonsense, comedians use humor to slice through the BS and expose the truth. Colbert isn't just making jokes, he's performing a public service by pointing out that our former president's diplomatic skills are about as effective as trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The whole fiasco is the perfect example of Trump's approach to world problems. Make everything about himself, ignore experts, kiss up to dictators, and then get mad when people point out how stupid his ideas are. Colbert didn't just make us laugh, he reminded us why we need to pay attention to what politicians are actually doing behind their fancy words and fake concern. In the end, Trump's diplomatic disaster shows exactly why we need comedians like Colbert. When our political system fails to hold leaders accountable, sometimes it takes a comedian to point out that the emperor isn't wearing any clothes. And in Trump's case, that mental image is something nobody wants to see. Let's be honest, comedians like Colbert aren't just making us laugh. There are BS detectors when politicians try to feed us garbage. When Trump sends Rubio to fix Ukraine without inviting Ukraine, someone needs to point out how dumb that is. That's where comedians come in. Trump's peace talks without Ukraine is like me solving your money problems by talking to your neighbor instead of you. It makes zero sense, but at least it gives comedians good material. Next time the orange turd tries playing world peacemaker while excluding the actual countries at war, Colbert will be there to remind us all that our former president is wearing no clothes.